6:47 a.m., you received a message from your lawyer at Cheating Story Lab. The contents were surprising. Adrian, who filed for divorce 6 months ago, is listed as a witness in our upcoming court case. She claims to testify about my financial abandonment of our marriage. Before the court hearing, contact me immediately. I was standing in the kitchen of my newly acquired apartment when I read this. My coffee grew cold as I opened the attached documents. There she was, Adrian herself, listed as a star witness. I took a seat at the small table I'd purchased secondhand. The room held remnants of a life being rebuilt, with mismatched furniture, bare walls, and an unsettling silence, a change from the 15 years spent sharing space with another. In one corner stood 4 large plastic storage bins filled with receipts, bank statements, canceled checks, and documents I'd organized meticulously for the past 3 months. I phoned Ford, my lawyer. "You've seen it," he confirmed. "She plans to testify that I never financially contributed," that's her claim. "During her testimony, it was stated that you were jobless for extended periods during our marriage, and when you did earn, your income remained separate." He paused. "Can you disprove this claim?" I glanced at the storage bins. "Every penny, Ford. I can back up every penny." Our marriage dissolved as many do, slowly then abruptly. Adrian worked longer hours. We purchased new garments, changed her cologne, guarded her phone. When I inquired, I was labeled as insecure, controlling, paranoid, typical phrases. I recommended therapy. She agreed but canceled the first 4 sessions. When we eventually attended one, she spent the time detailing how my lack of drive hindered her progression. I'm a civil engineer, having worked for the same company for 17 years, advancing to senior project manager, constructing a career that was steady though not particularly glamorous. Adrian had a marketing job, which she entered after I financed her professional certification early in our marriage. This fact would become significant later on. In January, she filed for divorce. By February, I learned about Kyle, a consultant at her firm, who drove a BMW and wore costly suits. He was the type of man whose elegance overshadowed my modest Honda and simple attire. A mutual friend informed me about their encounter at a restaurant in another town, where they were seen with their hands clasped and his mouth near her ear. When I questioned her, she didn't deny it. Instead, she claimed she had outgrown our marriage, stating that I hindered her progress and that she deserved someone who mirrored her refined lifestyle. The hurt wasn't due to the affair itself, but in how she reinterpreted our 15-year partnership as 15 years of her supporting me. This is when I began sorting through the boxes, not out of vengeance, but rather as a means of processing the situation. Desiring an amicable separation, a fair division of assets, and maintaining cordiality for friends' sake, I anticipated moving on smoothly. However, Adrian sought more. She insisted on claiming the house we jointly bought, a down payment for which I used my firm's signing bonus. She demanded alimony despite earning almost the same as me. Moreover, she aimed to distort reality. As the litigation progressed, Adrian's lawyer's strategy became apparent. Portray me as a financial dependent who contributed nothing while she built her career and managed our household. Each demand for financial records was met with incomplete documents from her side and aggressive counterdemands from mine. I decided to provide them with all my financial documentation, creating spreadsheets, scanning every receipt I'd saved, requesting records from banks, credit card companies, insurance providers, constructing a detailed timeline of our entire marriage month by month, showing exactly who paid for what. Initially, my attorney considered this excessive. During one of our preparation sessions, Ford stated confidently, "This is conclusive." However, he warned, "Are you ready for how this will appear? In court, such detailed documentation might bring up questions about your marriage. Allow the questions to arise. She's the one accusing me of contributing nothing. I'm merely going to expose her lies." The night before the hearing, sleep eluded me. I replayed in my mind the confrontation between her testimony and documented truth. I was no longer angry. Anger had faded during the long nights spent organizing evidence, facing the reality of how much I had given to someone now attempting to deny it. Instead, I felt a resolute determination. The courtroom was smaller than anticipated. The judge, Judge Helena Thornburg, a woman in her late 50s with steel-gray hair and an expression that hinted at years of encountering deceit, presided over the proceedings. Adrian sat alongside her attorney, Cassidy, a woman known for forceful family law strategies. Adrian wore a navy dress and pearls, symbolizing dignified hardship. She'd shed weight. I observed with indifference that she looked well, as one might notice about an unfamiliar person. She avoided looking at me during the initial arguments. Cassidy presented their case. My employment record had been inconsistent, our finances were kept distinct, and I had shouldered little of the household expenditures while Adrian bore the brunt of maintaining their standard of living. When I was employed, my personal spending took priority over family necessities. The story was persuasive if one didn't possess 15 years of banking records to challenge it. Then Adrian testified. Cassidy guided her methodically through the questioning. Yes, she had been the main source of income. Yes, she had paid the mortgage for years as I sorted things out. Yes, she covered utilities, groceries, home maintenance costs. In truth, she had assumed the role of a parent tending to an unresponsive adolescent instead of a partner sharing life with one. Cassidy inquired about the financial equilibrium within their marriage. Adrian spoke calmly, concealing her feelings of invisibility. I've been working tirelessly for 60 hours each week, just to keep us financially stable, while Dominic indulged in his hobbies and squandered money on himself. I often returned home drained, only to discover he had purchased another gadget or spent a weekend golfing, leaving an accumulation of bills unpaid. He treated our income as joint, but his was solely his. Had you ever discussed this disparity with him? They were continuous conversations. He vowed to improve and contribute more, yet the change never occurred. I stayed out of love for him and faith in our marriage, yet I ultimately recognized that I was merely supporting his actions. Watching her testify, Ford chose not to challenge her account. The defense relies on its own proof, he informed me. Allow her to fully embrace the lie, then we demolish it. During my turn to present evidence, I didn't take the stand initially. Instead, Ford summoned our forensic accountant, a man named Jasper, who focused on marital asset cases. Jasper had converted my documents into exhibits that told an unavoidable tale. "Mr. Chen," Ford inquired, "could you explain what your analysis of the financial records showed?" Jasper displayed the first exhibit on the courtroom screen. It depicted a graph displaying monthly mortgage payments for our house over 15 years, with each payment marked as funded by a specific source. The mortgage on the matrimonial home was paid exclusively by Mr. Dominic Reeves during the initial 8 years of marriage. These payments were directly transferred from his checking account via automatic withdrawal. In the 9th year, the account transitioned to a shared one, but the money deposited into it still originated from Mr. Reeves's paychecks. Adrian's lawyer contested this change. The judge ruled in favor of it. For 12 out of the past 15 years, I had paid for utilities, handled about 60% of the grocery shopping and payment, presented receipts to prove it. Until 2 years ago, I covered car insurance for both vehicles and health insurance, although family coverage was covered under my employer plan, with me shouldering the extra premium costs. Larger expenses include a $18,000 payment from Mr. Reeves's account to Carrington Professional Institute in the 3rd year of our marriage. Can you clarify this transaction? This was for Mrs. Reeves' tuition and fees to complete her marketing certification program, as she was shifting careers at the time. She did not repay him for this expense, according to the records. Our 5th anniversary trip to Hawaii, my credit card covered. Kitchen renovation appliances, our joint expense. Emergency roof repair, drained savings. Backyard fence as requested from my bonus check. Each detail presented meticulously with bank statements, credit records, canceled checks. The account we opened in our 9th year. My deposits outweighed hers by approximately $40,000 during its 6-year span. I observed Adrian's face, her unwavering confidence faltering. She leaned towards her lawyer, whispering urgently. Cassidy's demeanor changed from aggressive to defensive. Ford then nodded at me. Time for the concluding evidence. Mr. Chen, did your analysis include any remarkable findings regarding marital expenses? Yes, there are several transactions in the last 2 years of our marriage that warrant attention. Initially, a $3,000 wire transfer to a Manhattan luxury hotel appeared on the screen, dating back 18 months when Adrian had referred to it as a girls' weekend with college friends. This transaction originated from their shared account, Jasper stated. The hotel booking was for 2 individuals under Mr. and Mrs. Kyle Brennan, causing an uneasy silence in the courtroom. Judge Thornburg leaned forward, and Jasper carried on, pointing out that there were 4 more such transactions over a 14-month span across hotels in Manhattan, Boston, and Miami. Each reservation was for 2 people, all funded from their joint marital account. Adrian's complexion turned pale. Her attorney hurriedly sifted through documents seeking procedural objections, but we were not finished yet. There is one last significant transaction to highlight, Jasper said. 7 months ago, a $12,000 wire transfer was made from their joint account to Prestige Auto Group. According to Mrs. Reeves' records, this transaction was marked as a down payment for a personal vehicle. The display revealed the transaction particulars, followed by the vehicle registration details. It was Kyle Brennan who was listed as the car owner, having made a down payment for his affair partner, using shared funds. Money that I had contributed to our joint account, money she claimed I never provided, money she used to enhance another man's lifestyle while asserting I had given nothing towards hers. The judge's countenance remained impassive, but her voice hardened. Mrs. Reeves, you stated that your husband maintained separate finances and made minimal contributions to household expenditures. How do these records reconcile with your testimony? Adrian hesitated before speaking. Her lawyer rose promptly. Your Honor, we request a short adjournment to scrutinize these documents. The judge denied the request. Your client provided detailed testimony about the financial structure of this marriage. These records contradict that account. I'm asking her to clarify the inconsistency. Adrian spoke haltingly. These accounts were complex. In essence, it was Dominic's name on the documents, but you handled everything. He had no role in daily decisions, as stated by Mrs. Reeves. However, the judge interjected, challenging your statement. Were you or were you not sworn to testify that your husband did not financially support this marriage? The judge persisted, clarifying, did he or didn't he? You remained silent before barely whispering, I said it wasn't. However, these records indicate otherwise. It was not a question. Adrian failed to respond. Judge Thornburg scrutinized the exhibits and Ford's submitted documents again, totaling 143 pages, meticulously organized chronologically with cross-references and indexes. She then looked at Adrian for a considerable time. This court does not tolerate false testimony, Mrs. Reeves. By wasting court resources and attempting to defraud your spouse through demonstrably false claims, you have jeopardized your requests for the marital home and alimony. Furthermore, I am awarding Mr. Reeves the marital home and denying your request for alimony. Adrian remained silent. Ms. Reeves will be charged a significant amount for her legal fees, given the extensive documentation she needed to prepare to counter your false claims. Turning to me, she said, Mr. Reeves, you'll receive 60% of the marital assets, including the house if you choose to keep it. You have 30 days to make a decision. In the interim, I am ordering Mrs. Reeves to vacate the property straight away. Adrian was now genuinely crying, not the previous emotional show. Her lawyer attempted to argue for reconsideration, but Judge Thornburg wasn't having it. This case serves as a prime example of why parties should approach divorce truthfully. Your client opted for a different route. She will face the consequences. We are adjourned. The gavel fell. It was over. In the corridor outside, Adrian attempted to speak with me, but Kyle was there. I recognized him from the photos, standing near the elevator, reluctant to come closer. She appeared shattered, her makeup smeared, hands trembling. Adrian, refrain. I continued towards Ford, standing by the exit. I hadn't anticipated it escalating. I didn't think you were holding on to everything. I halted, swiveled, met your gaze for the first time that day. You swore under oath that I provided nothing. You attempted to seize everything I'd constructed, everything I'd paid for, while declaring I'd given nothing. And you utilized our funds to sustain your affair. My tone was even and composed. I'm no longer angry, Adrian. I've just had enough. Kyle vanished into the elevator. Alone in the hallway, Adrian stood and I felt something unexpected, compassion. She destroyed her life based on a lie that disintegrated the moment it encountered proof. I exited with Ford. The afternoon sun was radiant, nearly harsh following the fluorescent pallor of the courtroom. You performed well, Ford commented. You remained composed, allowed the evidence to speak. That's what secured this victory. I didn't want to win, I merely wanted not to vanish. He nodded in agreement. I returned to the house 3 weeks later, feeling that it had somehow shrunk despite being the same space. I meticulously packed away Adrian's leftover belongings, labeling each box and storing them in the garage for her to collect. She arrived while I was at work. It was a relief not to cross paths with her. Our divorce was finalized 2 months after the hearing, which she didn't contest. I learned through mutual acquaintances that she and Kyle had parted ways. Apparently, funding an affair with one's own spouse doesn't make for a strong relationship foundation. Adrian moved to another city and took on a new job. I erased her contact details and blocked her from my social media. One item from the ordeal remained with me, the spreadsheet. It wasn't out of resentment, but as proof of something I needed to confirm for myself. I had shown up, I had contributed. In a relationship with someone, they denied my contributions. Yet I possess tangible proof. The house now belongs to me. I revamped the bedroom, swapped out old furniture, and transformed it into something fresh. Regular visitors grace my home. I've been selective when dating again, taking my time. It became clear that a person attempting to obliterate your accomplishments speaks volumes about them, not you. I've saved every bill no longer in storage boxes but digital files on my computer, meticulously backed up. Not out of anticipation for future use, but as a symbol of significance, evidence that I existed, mattered, and my life, labor, and endeavors were genuine. Adrian sought to omit me from our narrative. However, one can't expunge someone who has preserved every piece of evidence. The facts are in the records. They always have been.